Hello and welcome Exiles to the day one update for the Righteous Fire Trickster. Here we have basic gear that I'm going to recommend for early. You just want to spend a chaos, grab a unique here or an okay item here. Stuff I'd recommend going for are things like Vol's Vision. This is a cheap unique. It gives you life, it gives you regen, gives you some res, gives you decent armor. Solid helmet for an early Righteous Fire Trickster. Even Inquisitor could use this. I think it's a great item early on. Other things like Rise of the Phoenix, really nice shield early on just to get our max res to help us basically sustain Righteous Fire degen. You see right now we have a tiny net degen, and that's going to improve once we swap into things like Purity of Fire and go from 80 max fire res to 85 or 86. Stuff like that will help out a lot. And then we also have things like Worm Sign, another cheap unique that gives us an early 5-link for our fire trap, because that way we can do a bit more single target for not too much expense. This is something we're of course going to upgrade out of. Eventually I'd like to go for Essence of Delirium, Trap and Mind damage gloves where we have a pseudo 6-link glove setup, but that'll be later on in the character. And then things like Death's Rush, this ensures we have fast mapping, onslaught, on kill, feels very nice. And then other things like Pyre, just an early damage ring. Stuff like this is what I recommend going for. And then rares just to fill out the rest of basically the life and res you need where you can. Our Scepter is just a +1 Fire Scepter. This is a really bad item. You definitely want to upgrade out of this, but it's good enough just to do up to yellow maps. I've done 40 out of 115, so I just did a T10, and I have a T8 here to do. We have played roughly 8 hours on the character, so we've done pretty well in getting through the campaign and getting into some early mapping. The passive tree looks basically like what I have set out in the Path of Building. I'm about to go path over and grab some life, start getting us closer to 5k life by the time we hit 85, 86-ish. Start to round out our defenses a little bit better. We currently only have our Merc Lab. We're going to be getting Swift Killer from Uber Lab once we get a trial. That'll make our mapping damage much better. Our mapping speed faster because we're going to get attack and cast speed from things like Frenzy Charges. So we got improvements to do, but this is what the character looks like. Day one, just basic gear. We're going into yellow maps here, and it can do these maps pretty well. They're definitely dangerous in terms of the new rare Arch Nemesis monsters. Those monsters can hit like a truck. They can be very dangerous. We haven't died too many times, but there definitely have been times where those monsters have caught me off guard in terms of how much stronger they are than previous rares were. Both in like HP and damage they deal out. They are some pretty heavy hitters. Granted, part of that is my fault. I spent a passive point and I went into the dance with, I don't know what I got hit by there, Dance of Destruction, where monsters deal 25% more damage, so I may be getting myself killed by that, but I think early league it makes sense to get a node like that to prioritize basically finishing maps faster and progressing your Atlas in order to get into the end game quicker and make some more currency that way. So I think it's worth it. Maybe I've died a couple times from it. I'm not too sure. But for the most part, it's still been pretty chill. We're still progressing levels. We're 80, pushing 81 now, which I think is pretty good for 9 hours in on a fresh league start. I think it's pretty solid, and I'm very happy with how this character is performing. And the end game of this character is never going to be life-based. We're going to get life-based good enough where it should feel very clean in T16s, but I want to take it well beyond that to an ES version that frankly just stomps juice content. We have a new bar, a new threshold, so to speak, for how difficult we can make the game in terms of Height of Hubris, basically doubling Invitation's difficulties. We have the new Uber bosses. I want to make a character that can take on this hard end game content and do very well against it, so that is what I'm planning towards. Now when we get to a boss, I guess we killed the boss too fast, but I was gonna say that right now our current setup is we just self-cast Flammability, and then we self-cast Wave of Conviction with Combustion. That's basically giving a lot of minus res to the boss, so that way we can take the boss out rather quickly and deal some damage. Funnily enough, the gloves I recommend as a nice little early gloves for a 5-link for Fire Trap, I just dropped them. They're really common gloves. These are things will cost you probably an ALC by the time this video even gets posted, so definitely recommend if you want an early, easy 5-link Fire Trap for just some nice damage. You don't really need it, to be honest. You probably can clear even on a 4-link up to yellows. Yellows aren't super tanky in how hard they are. And I guess since we have a Maven invitation, I can do this just to showcase you what it looks like. This is the second one, I think, with like 5 bosses. And it is a, let's see what level zone this is. Level 75, and I believe that's I don't know, a tier 8 map or something. I'm not 100% sure. It's around there. Tier 8, tier 9, something like that. So I'll give you a showcase of what this will look like if this guy will spawn. I'm gonna put fire traps down and try to make sure I'm dealing damage to these bosses. Okay. Part of me is tempted to pop my Valrighteous Fire, but I'm gonna wait for I was gonna wait for my Heartstopper to proc. I got Valrighteous Fire from valuing one of my Righteous Fire gems, which has been really nice for leveling. I've killed myself a couple times with it, because when you pop Valrighteous Fire, you go down to like 20% HP. So usually, it's not a good idea to pop it right when you're about to get hit by like a really heavy hitting monster type of thing, but it hasn't caused me too many issues. My current strategy for this POB, it looks really weird, but this is my I want to push high tier maps fast strategy. I basically bum rushed basically Dance of Destruction all the way around here to get Stream of Consciousness and then Wandering Path. This is something I'm not going to stay with, but initially when I'm filling out my entire atlas, I'm going with this. It's similar like to a boss rushing tree with basically better chance to drop maps. So that way we can push the higher tier maps fast as possible, even if we don't have the best juice on it, and still get some good map pool sustain. That way, as I'm progressing my character, we can get to the end game fast, and we can then farm some currency, upgrade our character, get our character decked out, and then we can start taking on harder juice content than just map producing content like this. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks Sinusius, I don't know how to say that, for the follow. Appreciate you guys. Take care, Exiles.